Hello everybody, welcome to the Friday morning live stream. So a lot of things to go over. Let's try to make this quick and then we'll get into a little Q&A. So just like the title and thumbnail suggest, there is some data that came out today and it's looking pretty good. I didn't think this was actually going to be released. I thought the government was shut down, but the BLS keeps working for us. So thankfully that's a positive, and it looks like CPI numbers came in a little bit or a skosh higher. Now, it all comes down to expectations. And when we release these macro data points, it's not so much about how much it goes up or how much there's a decrease or how much there's an increase. It really comes down to expectations. And the expectations were that year-over-year CPI numbers were at 2.9%, and we had the expectation that it would go to 3.1. Well, it didn't hit that. It actually was below expectations for inflation. So this is good news for the market. And hopefully this will lead to a little bit more of a price increase for everybody's bags that they have. We'll see how it all works out. But today, again, 3.0% is what it came into for the year-over-year CPI. We can just verify that. If you go to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, and we're seeing over year-over-year, as far as August, 2.9, and then September, of course, 1 month back, we're at 3%. So with everything that's gone on, with all the different characteristics that are going on in the macro environment, the things that are going on with the administration, with the tariff terrors that are happening, and people debating about was that going to be massive inflation? No. So here we are. So things are looking good. Let's hope it keeps up. And there's also more economic data on the way. Looks like personal spending, personal income, you got core PCE, there's a lot of different things coming out, but the big one has been released and it looks like we are under expectation. So let's see what happens to the market. I need to refresh this. I don't think this is correct. Bitcoin 111. Again, markets are the markets. We'll see what happens. Hit refresh, 111,532. Oh, wow. It went up a couple dollars. So it looks like the market didn't collapse on good news. That's good. Things are rational. I like to see that. So hopefully things keep moving in the right direction. And, we have the monstrous Q4 that everybody hopes for. So that takes care of the inflation core part. Now let's talk about that 50% Bitcoin pullback, which I had alluded to in the thumbnail. This was a great interview. This is from Anthony Pompliano, and he had Tom Lee on from Fundstrat and Bitmine fame, who I got to tell you, Tom Lee is an eternal bull. I mean, he is bullish 24/7, 365. And when he said in this interview, and I linked this in the description, it's an hour-long interview, and I want everybody to take a listen to it. I want everybody to watch it and just kind of absorb what Tom is saying and the questions, and which were really great from Anthony here. And tonight, I'm going to talk about more things. We're going to talk about prediction markets and AI and why the economic data is broke, which Tom alludes to. But I just want to play this quick clip. This is about a minute and a half or so, where Tom is talking about what he thinks is going to be a realistic pullback, and also about the 4-year cycles and where he thinks things are coming from. Let me make sure you can actually hear this correctly, perfectly, as I say. Take a listen to this, about a minute and a half long. Excellent points by Tom.
And what about the 4-year cycle? Do you think that that holds, or do you think that that was something that was broken by the institutional participation in the ETFs?
Well, most of the crypto people I speak to expect a 4-year cycle. Mm-hmm. And they're adamant, that maybe Bitcoin peaks early next year. But as you know, when something is so strongly held, it's very unlikely to be true. So either Bitcoin's already peaked or we have a longer cycle. I'm more in the camp that it's a longer cycle.
But there would still be 50+% drawdowns in the future, or there's a kind of cycle is broken and something different?
I'm sure there'll be 50% drawdowns because the stock market has more frequent 25% drawdowns. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's when, even though people realize, the stock market's made a lot of progress last 6 years. Mm-hmm. We've had an unusually large number of 25% drawdowns. Mm-hmm. And we probably have another S&P decline of 20% next year. So if the S&P is down 20, Bitcoin could be down 40.
Okay, so it makes a lot of sense what he's talking about. And I got to tell you, Tom, when he talks and he's giving you historical data for the markets, he's really on point. He's got a great memory and he's got a great outlook of what's happening. But when he said that 50% drop, I'm like, okay, I can see that. And with the 4-year cycles, I can also see exactly what he's talking about. Maybe there is an extension, and maybe there's somewhere in the middle. Like we've got people like Raoul Powell saying it's going to be in Q2, potentially Q3. We've got other people going, no, it's going to be even longer than that. We have some people talking about super cycle again. So we'll see if that works out. But when he's talking about 50%, my question for everybody is this. everybody's been here roughly since 2021 or 2017 or 2013. And I think the majority, this is maybe your second cycle. Maybe we're seeing people in the third cycle as well. If Bitcoin goes down to 50%, and we're talking about in Q1 or Q2, let's just say Q2, maybe, excuse me. Let's say like Q3, Q4. How much would that be detrimental to you? Would you look forward to those 50% drops, or would you think to yourself, this is going to crush me? I'm just curious where everybody's at with their investment strategy and what they're doing and how they play it. I can tell you what Michael Saylor is going to say. He's going to say, hey, I don't care if it goes up 150% or it goes down 50%, I'm going to buy every single day. And for other people, they're not billionaires with private companies, and they're probably looking at it differently. So I'm just curious where you're at. So let me know what you think about that in the comments section. And on top of that, Polymarket, because I found this funny, and I got to tell you, and Tom talks about this in the interview, and I've been agreeing with him here on Polymarket about the predictive markets that are here. The things that you can do with Polymarket, how accurate they are. Now, they're not 100%, but I got to tell you, accuracy of 88% plus from 24 hours to 3 months out, and it's hitting those numbers, insane. One of the things that came out is FBS going to be released from custody in 2025? Now, we just saw CZ Binance got pardoned. I don't know if you knew that. That actually came from the President of the United States. He pardoned CZ. We'll talk about that in a second, actually. But what do you think about SBF being pardoned? I got to tell you, if that happens, I think we're near the top. I'm not a big fan of SBF and what he did with FTX, but this is what we have. And right now, this was yesterday as far as 16%. And this morning went down to a 9% chance. So if you're into like gambling like my friend Bobby, you can get in on that. Go to Polymarket. I think it's just polymarket.com. Me personally, if I had to gamble on it, I'd be putting big fat no's. My friend Bobby will probably put it on a big fat yes, and he'll probably spend too much. But that is what it is. I just found that quite interesting. And then to piggyback off that, I don't know if you guys knew this, but yesterday CZ had I got a full pardon. And once that happens, then you have Teresa Goody Guillen. I don't know if she is a congresswoman or not, but she makes a point that CZ was rightfully pardoned by the President of the United States for a single charge of failure to have an effective compliance program, no fraud, no victims, no criminal history, no money laundering. But the ultimate crypto Karen, Elizabeth Warren, put this out yesterday, which is, she states, CZ pleaded guilty to a criminal money laundering charge and was sentenced to prison. And then he financed President Trump's stablecoin. So look, on that second part, President Trump's stablecoin, a little bit's in the gray area. But for her to say, and I think you're going to hear this a lot of different places, where CZ was responsible for money laundering. CZ was responsible for all the terrorists, or a big bulk of terrorism, or a big bulk of narcotics and cartels and abusers to use Binance, and they went through, and it was the awful thing. Look, cartels and terrorists are using the US dollar by far for money laundering. And if you have any problems and issues, go to your friend Jamie Dimon over JP Morgan and take a look at how many times they have been fined for this exact same thing. The difference is that CZ doesn't have those inroads, and that's why he spent 4 months in jail. So again, this is a false claim. CZ didn't plead guilty to money laundering. The count was one charge of violating the Bank Secrecy Act. Now, am I ecstatic with what happened with Binance on October 10th, when everything kind of pretty much collapsed because of the perps trading and the different data points that were come in and people got liquidated? No, but we have to segment what happened from there to what is being talked about here. So if you hear this on different platforms, just kind of speak up and say, hey, this is what was the actual point. And then lastly, before I get into Q&A, which is this, there's something going on with gold. We all know it's hitting all-time highs. It's rocketing. But there was a pullback, apparently, as of yesterday. Gold prices fell almost 6%, the largest one-day drop since April. I'm kind of bummed about that because I own gold too. But we talked about this recently, but there is a debasement trade going on massively. And look at this. China has 86 tons of gold now. I don't think I'm saying that right. 86,535 kilograms. I think that's the same tons, T-O-N-N-E-S. And they're buying up gold like crazy. Also, India is doing the same thing. Russia, in the middle. But it is interesting to see how much gold is being bought and how much of that, of course, is going to stay within the coffers in those countries, or how much will actually flow out. And this was interesting. I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't know if this has any relevance. This was from Raoul Pal, and he talks about a 188-day lead from gold to Bitcoin. So things flow into gold first, and then when people get calmed down, because this is essentially a debasement trade and they're worried about it, massive inflation, they're worried about a recession or depression, then it starts to flow into another risk asset, which would be, or excuse me, risk off, because gold is a risk off asset. Bitcoin is a risk off asset for some people. Some people say it's risky, but you can see here like a 6-month lead, it's kind of overhangs there. So I'll tip my hat to Raul on that one. Maybe it is true. And that's it for today. So look, like today's video, this is just the mornings. We just kind of throw things to get people up to speed about what's going on for the day. We're going to continue this tonight as we talk about what Tom said. Again, it's fascinating about what he talked about, AI, also on macroeconomic data and how the people behind it are biased and why they can't even trust that data that's coming out. And he gives you examples and receipts. And of course, more things about the 4-year cycle. But that's it for this piece. Want to stick around? We'll do a little Q&A, answer your questions, then we'll get out of here. What is everybody's question? Well, first of all, I had to address this. Felix Cepeda goes, great, more bearish news and FUD. You know, so when we first came in here, a lot of people, or there were some people like, you know, why can't this just be up only and up and to the right? Because it's important that everybody knows the negative aspects of what's going on so they can lead themselves to a more informed decision. If I give you nothing but good news, then you just assume, it's just going to be good. And, you know, this guy's good and this guy's good, this guy's hyped up. But, you know, I have to say like, hey, there's drawdowns coming. There are problems on the horizon. There are things that you have to be aware of. And hopefully I gave that in a balanced way so you don't freak the F out when things actually hit the fan. And that's it. There's always going to be cycles. There's always going to be pullbacks. There's always going to be bull markets. There's always going to be bear markets. It's just about talking and making you aware that these things will happen. Okay. Joe Potter's got a good point. Bitcoin, gold, silver. It sounds good to me too. I mean, look, if you're looking for, I mean, as far as money printing goes, we are debasing the currency at the fastest rate, I think, ever in history for the United States. So if we know that we're pumping in that much money, why wouldn't we get out of the dollar and stop saving and putting into assets? And that could be assets which would be hard assets, precious metals. That could be equities. That could be like my favorites, which is real estate and land. Those are the things to hold, I feel like. And of course, unless unfortunately, if you know America falls and becomes a communist country, and then all the different land gets bought, just gets taken over by the communists, I don't think that's going to happen. I know some people are like, no, it's already happening. I don't think it's happening. We'll see. All right. AP Mike Mihal says, what's the likelihood of a 50 basis point cut in December? I don't know. Let's take a look at two areas. We're going to take a look at the CME and see what they say. Well, this is a 25 basis point, which, yeah, it's coming up 29th of October. When is that? Is that today's 24th? 5 days? So Wednesday? Wednesday we'll get a 25 basis point cut. And hold on. 29th of October. And now 10th of December for a 50 basis point cut from what we go to, it's like a 1% chance. So I don't think. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, 2.4%. Hey, 2%. So we have that. Let's go to Polymarket. No. Let's see if they have something for rate cuts. Fed rate hike in 2025? Who would gamble on that? How many Fed rate cuts? Fed emergency cut? Here we go. Oh, that's nothing. 50? Fed decision in October, still not there. December. Here we go. Okay. So Fed decision in December. Well, this one is slightly better odds at 6%. So not 2.3, but 6%, 25 basis points seems to be the one. I will tell you this though. If I was a gambler, which I'm kind of a little bit, not like my friend Bobby, but if I was, I would just keep checking Polymarket and watch as these things, if they start to flip, and just start to put a little money on that. If you didn't realize, there are insiders that I believe, I cannot verify this, that are betting on Polymarket. Case in point, the Nobel Prize winner, lady out of, I believe it's Venezuela. No one really knew who she was. And then like a couple hours before the Nobel Peace Prize was announced, people thought that President Trump's gonna get it. He didn't get it, this lady got it. And somebody put a massive bet on that hours before it happened. All you gotta do is just watch this. So if you knew that and you said it was a massive bet, like, maybe I'll put it like 50 bucks on there, 10 bucks, whatever you got. And then do that way. Same thing happened with CZ Binance. All of a sudden, like 4 hours before the pardon was announced, somebody bet that he was gonna get pardoned. And here we are. So maybe you check that out and go from there. Bobby sounds fun. Bobby is a moron. And he's good to drink with, though, I'll tell you that. He's super entertaining. But man, just bad gamble after bad gamble. Everybody's got a friend like that. Crypto Stevo, Perp Dex, Nere, still not my Avantis, and Astra bags are pamping. Ooh. Let's see. How's that going? Now, I talked about both Avantis and Astra. And when I talked about it, as it doubled in price, I have a rule. And the rule is that once something doubles in price, I automatically sell it. And I take 50% and leave that and let it ride. Because that's house money. And then if it doubles or triples again, then I take my profits. And that's why I'm pretty stable as far as like even kilter for emotions. It's like, well, you just keep doing that. It's okay. And people say, why don't you want generational wealth and just let it all ride? I'm like, look, I've let a lot of things ride for the whole thing, and usually it doesn't work out. So if I would have done the same thing in like, say like Ethereum, when it first came out and I put in, I don't know, $1,000 worth of Ethereum, and Ethereum back then was worth $1 or $5, something like that. If I would have sold half when it doubled, then half again, I'd still be up massively today. I mean, now it's like, instead of $5, it's whatever it is, $3,800. I'd be fine. And then I don't have to worry about stuff. And I can live my life. Anyhow, Avantis, for 7 days. Hey, this is looking good. Went from 50 cents to 70. Okay, now we're talking. My little bag is happy. And then, how was Astra? Astra took a big hit. Ah, hey, all right. Damn, it's over $1. It's pretty good. But over 7 days, it still dropped a little bit. So yeah, Astra is one of those that I bought at a little bit over $1, and I didn't sell because it didn't hit my 100% benchmark. So I'm still waiting, but I'll be okay. Don't cry for me, Argentina. All right. Stero, he says, I followed and broke that rule. Lesson learned. That's okay, man. We all do these things. We're all like, this time's different. We don't follow our own rules, and that we get stuck. I did this in the beginning. I did this many times. Like, I'm going to have these rules. I'm going to stick to these rules. And I'm like, you know what, though? I think I'm smarter than the market. I'm not. Still hot. Stupid thumbs. Hold on, what did I miss? Siri says, what's going to happen with Solana when Solana XRP and other ETFs has been approved? The last leg up. We'll see. Now remember what happened with the Ethereum ETF. When the Ethereum ETF came out, everybody's like super excited. Like this is just like the Bitcoin ETF. We're going to see massive appreciation, and it was stagnant for like roughly 6 months, 9 months to almost a year. And people were like, well, we don't understand why. And then all of a sudden, Tom Lee came in and said, we're going to do an Ethereum treasury. Then all of a sudden, Ethereum started to blow up. And then, of course, Ethereum got a nice leg up when Robinhood came out and said, we want to tokenize equities. And we're going to use a layer 2 solution, Arbitrum, which is from Ethereum. And we're going to roll that out to the masses globally. And then all of a sudden, Ethereum is like, the sentiment went from this sucks to this is the best thing of all time. And now here we are kind of in between. We'll see what happens with it. I like XRP. I mean, the people that do it are great, but I mean, the people that buy it, not the people that are behind it. Solana, that's one of my faves, because if we take a look at stablecoins, that's one of the big ones that is on the rails. And to me, it's always the same thing. If you take a look at Binance, if you take a look at Ethereum, if you take a look at Solana, and if you take a look at Tron, those are the big rails for all the stable, well, for Tether and USDC. Those are the ones I'm going to bet on. And that's it for today. So look, we're at the 20-minute mark. I don't want to keep this too long. You guys got stuff to do. So that's it for this one. I'll meet you back here tonight, and we'll go over all the craziness that happened today. But that's it for this one. Thanks so much, everybody, for stopping by. I appreciate you. See you on the next one. Adios.